Hello Ant Keepers, welcome back to my Antics, a YouTube channel where we take and explore some of the amazing species that we have here in the United States and raise them from queens into colonies. It's been a long time since we uploaded a video and a lot has been going on my side. I apologize for the delay, but I'm going to do my very best to make time for new videos so we can move forward with the My Antics YouTube adventures. Since we last spoke, I took a trip to Florida. Got T-boned in my car, we got a new kitten, and we got a bunch of great new species to work with. Unfortunately, our biggest ant colony, our Camponotus discolor, the Avengers, did have some trouble while I was away, and they did not make it before I got back. It was a sad time for me, and eventually I ended up taking all of their nests outside and gave them the world to discover. Seeing how they no longer have a queen, I felt like it was the best case scenario for them to live a happy life for the rest of the season. This episode, however, we're going to be taking a look at my new colony, our Pogonomyrmex Badius. And we're going to be doing week-to-week updates to see exactly what they're up to, how they're doing, and we'll finally get to that fantastic moment where we move them into a nest. Alright guys, so here we have our Pogonomyrmex Badius. Let's see. We'll be taking a close-up in this colony in a second, but what we're going to be doing is putting them in a homemade container that has everything that they need to thrive. I did make a little homemade box, got this at Walmart, has to be like under $1. Added some really nice ventilation features on the top and made a test tube port on the side. We're also going to be making a test tube sleeve to go over this to keep it in the dark. We've talked about that in previous videos, but in case you're rusty, we're going to add a little bit more info to refresh your memory. We're going to add some native sand that they're very familiar and used to in here. We're going to give them some protein, seeds, honey, and make sure that they have a nice warm place to continue our updates from here on forward. Alright, let's do it. Now we're going to go ahead, open our little homemade outworld here, and we'll add a little bit of the harvester's natural substrate. Hopefully enough that we can actually balance this out. We might have actually added a little bit too much. I might put a little bit back. Bad. Well, I do got a test tube holder here, which I suppose we can use to balance it out. In all honesty, I may want to make a smaller test tube altogether. I feel like that might actually be more beneficial than using a full-sized one. Give me one moment. With this smaller test tube, it has a little bit of a bend downward on it, which actually might be a good thing, so it doesn't move this around as much. Not too bad. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and grab a squirt bottle real quick. Let's see here. We're going to just spray that sand a tiny bit to give it some moisture, though this is probably something I'm going to have to do quite frequently. And then we're going to go ahead and move in the harvesters. Look close, you can see the eyeball of this harvester worker. As long as nothing goes wrong with her little experiment, she will be hatching soon. It looks like they're having a little bit of trouble when it comes to the moisture on the side of the walls. So we can take a little piece of paper towel, square it up, and just dry that off for them. With our little colony now having a fresh test tube and a mini outworld, we can go ahead and make them a test tube sleeve, something to keep their test tube dark. Easily enough, you'll just need some paper, the test tube of your choosing, some scissors, and I like to go with electrical tape. You want to line it up and go ahead and cut yourself a piece of paper about the same length as the test tube that you are using. Believe it or not, you don't need much. Next up, you want to take that paper and gently, you don't want to do it too tight because you won't be able to get it off and it'll be really hard to slide it on and off in the future. And just roll it around once or twice and go ahead and cut off the excess. Next up, take your tape, go ahead and plop it on at the bottom there. Roll yourself a good amount of tape. And like I said before, you want to be loose with it, but you also want to make sure that it's firm enough where it's not slopping all over the place. And you just want to gently roll that tape. Alrighty, when you're done, cut your tape. Go ahead and push your test tube out. Take your scissors, clean it up. And let's find something that fits on this. So, we're gonna slide it on. Figure out how much we need. About right there. Cut a tiny bit more of this off. And now they got a semi-dark place where they can go in. Now obviously we're not going to be keeping this in a lighted area, we're going to be putting this in complete darkness, so it's not necessarily something we have to worry about, but when you decide to bring them out, you do have the option of looking in the test tube without giving it the complete roller derby light version of the ant world. So, definitely something I would recommend using. And it was one of the first things that I actually made as an accessory for my test tube, so it's nice that it's coming round robin. With them finding the test tube with the quickness, and some seed given to them in abundance in their new little mini outworld, I believe that our week 1 update is coming to a conclusion. This will be something that we can work together on and see exactly how far they get in this little experiment of ours. This will also be a great way to phone in and pinpoint on the Pogonomyrmex Badius species care and maintenance overall. Now of course, in other scenarios, you can raise them purely in a test tube, and this is really just a little experiment to start off the ANTICS season. A quick overlay on that would be, you could take some sand and actually layer it on the bottom of the test tube itself. Harvesters are ground-loving species, or sand preferably. They come from the tropics where there are a lot of beaches nearby and palm trees. This soil that we give them is the real deal, and we actually got this from the beaches where we found this harvester. We like to think that it does matter and it helps them feel more at home, but in all honesty, any sand will work when you are raising this species. The East Coast harvester ant is one of the most phenomenal species that we have here in the United States. With the powerful sting that rivals a wasp, and the giant jaws which crush other insects to death, I will say that we're going to have a very fun time raising these girls in the ant room. Along with the harvester species, we also have a pretty cool trapjaw queen, which we're going to mimic what we did with the harvesters and raise her as well. Between these two species, we should have a lot of fun in the weeks and months to come, and I'm hoping that everything goes good so we can move forward and make these girls into superstars in their own right. I'd like to say that we also have the rare East Coast harvester ant and trapjaw queens, both in the ANTICS ant shop. We don't have too many, but as it currently stands, I'll add some discount codes below, and if you're interested in these species at home, and you live in the United States, I'd be happy to help you bring home this species into your collection. You guys have a wonderful night. I look forward to talking with you again, and of course, happy ant keeping to you all. Say something.